Hey all, welcome back to the channel. Brendan here, aka Cliff Jumper, and today we are going to be checking out another phone mount. This is a magnetic type phone mount, and this one is one of the ones that it should hook into the vents on your dash instead of like a permanent installation type setup. And let's see how it does in one of our cars to see if it works. I'm going to try this one out in our Sequoia. That seems to be a really good test bed for car mounts because it does have a 4x4 suspension. It bounces around a bit. So let's see how it does with our phone and test it out. So thank you for PopTech for sending this out. Let's try it out and see how it does. Now first of all, let's unbox it and see what's in here. This should be a pretty simple, straightforward thing. So we'll open it up and yep, there we have the actual bracket that will go into our vents. Looks like a pretty simple little hook system there. We will monkey with it. Okay, so we turn this and it extends to different lengths to hook into your vents, and then you can back it out again to secure it, and it'll have a friction mount. So that's great. I like that. Let's see here. This is our actual car mount itself with the magnet around the outside there. And it looks like it should have your typical retainer set up. So this will go around here, and this should go pop right in there like so. Yep, great. And then we will tighten it down. And that will allow us to put it in a variety of different orientations and then really snug it down so that it stays secure. I am a fan of this sort of mounting system. It works pretty well. So let's put that down and see what else we have in here. Looks like we have the adhesives and magnets. What is this? Oh, look, we've got it comes with templates for your different phones. That is actually super helpful. Rather than try to figure out exactly where it needs to go, it's actually got a template to show you where it needs to go on your phone. So this one's for an iPhone 12 mini or a 13 mini. What else do we have here? Deftly get it out of our, and we've got a template for a 12, 13, 14, 15 Pro Max, 14 Plus or 15 Plus, so that's great. We've got it for a 12, 12 Pro, 13, 13 Pro, 14, 15, and we've got it for a 14 Pro and a 15. So it's a variety of phone templates it comes with. So if you've got any of these phones, you won't have to worry about figuring out exactly where to put your ring. And this is the mounting ring that I assume is going to go pop right on there. Let's see. Yeah. So that will allow it to stay on there really nicely. Cool. All right. And of course the adhesive is not exposed yet, so I will wait and we'll put that on our test phone and go try it out. Let's see how it does. So we'll try it on our iPhone 13 here. So we've got our template, which is ironically for the 14 Pro, but I noticed if I put it, these are for like the Pro Max. This is the one that actually fits on this phone. So we'll boo our template, and we will oh, it looks like, oh, I've actually got two of these rings here. So I'm going to set one aside. Nice. We'll just use the one. Nice thin ring. Use the alignment guide. Boom. Helps probably if I don't put it on the paper, but actually on the phone. Try that one more time. All right. inside the guide, not on the guide. There we go. Okay, cool, aligned. Okay, here we are in our Sequoia, and just to test this out, I'm going to go ahead and use the vent right here. So I've got this extended as much as I want. Remember, there's a adjuster right here, so I'm going to start with full extension. I do want the bottom parts of this to rest on something solid, so like the frame there. So we'll put that in where it's going to rest on the frame, and then I can use that to tighten it down to where the top is making contact with the vent, and it's nice. Oh, that's actually really nice and solid. I like that. That's better than I thought it was going to be. All right, so I've now tightened down that adjusting ring, and now we have to deal with the adjustment that is the angle. So I'll do a little bit of adjustment there and then tighten that. Okay, and that can be where I want it to be now. There we are. Okay, it is now in place. Of course, my placement is awful because I've just realized that my shifter is going to be right in the way. So we're going to relocate this. Beautiful thing about this thing is just loosen it and we can move it somewhere else that's going to be a better position. Now you might notice I've already got some magnetic mounts in here. We try these out to see how they do long term, and this will go into our long-term testing to see how it does. Let's find another spot that we can use for this. I'll go ahead and use the passenger side vent just for testing here. And notice if I put this up here, it's going to pull that vent all the way out. That's why I want to put it down here at the one of the bottom edges of the vent. That way it's not going to pull the vent out in a weird, awkward way. As a matter of fact, I might put it down here. That's going to give me a good purchase, and then I will adjust right there. So some of finding the best position is definitely trial and error, but once I've got it adjusted, the vent's going to stay in place, which is great. And then I can loosen this. Just trying to remember the orientation from where I'm at. We'll go ahead and loosen that, and then we'll tighten it, because I'm going to be looking at it, not my passenger, so that'll sit right there. And then, boom, there we go. Let's go drive around and see how it does with just staying in place. Now, San Diego roads are kind of notorious for not being that great, and we're gonna take our SUV with this mounted out in some areas. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna, not really go off-road, but I'm just gonna drive intentionally in some ditches here off the side of the road and hit some imperfections just to see how this mount does. All right. There are some gravel roads, there are some unpaved roads, there are some really bumpy, crappy roads full of potholes and imperfections down this valley that we're gonna go give this a mild torture test with and see how well the phone stays in its place while we're bouncing around down here. So let's talk about this mount for a second. it definitely has its usefulness. It also has it's got its pros, it's got its cons. Let's talk about the pros first. We'll do a sandwich. Pros, cons, pros. So pro, it is lightweight, it is very portable. So if you're a person like me who travels and you don't want to do a permanent install on a rental car, but you do want to be able to have your phone mount with you, this is a great solution for that because it breaks down very small. You can throw it in your carry-on. I would probably throw this in my carry-on so I could access it really easily when I was getting into a rental car, but this could go into a rental car, or if you're using Turo, something like that. This will work with most cars out there because most cars have vents, right? At least most cars have vents that have some sort of lateral slat that you can plug this into, and that can hook in and you can use it. Now, of course, the con immediately apparent from this is if it's one of these vents that does this deal, then you might be fighting the angle a little bit. Of course, the solution is you use the bottom side of where it pivots and plant these feet right there on a solid part of the dashboard, and then after you tighten it down, it's really not going to go anywhere. Or if you put it right in the dead center of one of these vents, it really should not go anywhere. It's just gonna stay in place pretty hard. And you can put it in different vents like I demonstrated here. Now, of course, another con is it doesn't have anything to prevent it from sliding back and forth, which might not be a deal breaker. It might be annoying though. But even with it sliding back and forth, when I took it mildly off-road on an unpaved road with a lot of dips, it bounced around a bit, but the phone stayed in place on the mount. So would I say this is great for off-road use? Absolutely not. No. Stick with your trail-rated stuff for your Jeep or your 4x4 where you're doing some serious off-roading on horrible conditions. But for your mild unpaved road, say that you have to drive an unpaved road to or from home, this is okay. This is gonna keep your phone from flying off. It's strong enough for that. So like on a level 1 through 5 of awful terrain, with 1 being your typical unpaved road and a 5 being crawling over giant rocks out in Sedona, I would probably put this at about a 2 on that level. So just, be aware. But if you're traveling, if you've got a car that you don't want to do a permanent install on, this Sequoia is not a particularly rare vehicle. It doesn't bother me to do permanent installs in various spots on the dashboard to try out these magnetic mounts. But I do have a couple of rare cars that I don't want to do anything permanent to because it would hurt the value, and I care about the car. So in that case, this is not a bad solution. Would I use this on a very delicate old car like my Corrado or my R32? No, I would not, because I know those vents are prone to break, and this puts stress on the vents, and on a delicate old car, especially a collector's car, I wouldn't want to damage it. But for the vast majority of cars out there, I think this is a pretty workable solution. So if you're traveling, or if you just don't want to damage the car, you don't want to do a permanent installation, you want something that hooks in really quickly, maybe you're traveling with a buddy and you're jumping in their car and you don't want to be holding your phone the whole time, you could slap that in the corner vent or the passenger side vent and have your phone up there. Now, I've done a couple of road trips recently where I was a passenger and I was also the navigator. So this would be a really good solution for that, for me to throw my phone up on my side of the dash and be able to navigate using Waze. Use Waze, don't use the other navigations. Waze is great. So using something like Waze, this would work great. Anyway, with my reviews, I tend to either give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I'm going to give a mostly thumbs up on this. Like, it's not perfect,
but it works pretty well. And I think for the vast majority of people, this is a pretty reasonable solution, especially if you travel. I like this a lot better with the adjustable hook that it has that most systems don't. Most just sort of clip in, and they've got springs, and the springs are really chintzy and it can fall out. This with the adjustable that you can actually click and lock in place, I like that a lot better. And with the rotating ball assembly that you can hog down and snug into position of where you like it, it's pretty good. So out of all of the vent style mounts I've seen, this is on the high end in terms of being thought out well and executed well. The plastic feels pretty decent. It doesn't feel like it's gonna break easily. It does have rubber feet where it's gonna meet your dash, so it shouldn't mar your dashboard. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a thumbs up. As always, I will leave a link in the description where you can find this thing and try it out for yourself. Thank you for tuning in. If you wouldn't mind hitting a like, subscribe if you found this helpful. I do try out different stuff from time to time, and my channel's mostly car content, mostly car. Sometimes I do delve into cosplay. Sometimes I do delve into other nerdy interests of mine, music, what have you, but mostly car. So if you're a car person, tune in. And if you're not, tune in anyway, because why not? We all need to be entertained. God bless you. See you next time. Bye-bye.
And on that terrible disappointment, it's time to say goodbye. We'll be back.